Hey everyone, so this is part 3 in my video series about the North American school, Ilvermorny School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and sort of talk about how it was founded and all like the history behind it. So I've done 2 other videos about it, which I'll have the links here for you to go to and look at and see what those ones were all about. And with this video, it's going to be mostly about the actual founding of Ilvermorny and how all that sort of came to be. So if you haven't seen the first 2, I would recommend clicking here or here. And if you have, then welcome back and where I left off. So Chadwick, Webster, and James and Isolde, I've now found out is how it was pronounced, sort of became a full family, with James and Isolde becoming married and sort of adopting Webster and Chadwick. And Isolde told them many stories that she had learned through Gormalith about Hogwarts, and really sort of enchanted the boys with these stories and made them dream of one day getting a letter and going to Hogwarts. That they kept sort of pleading back and forth about wanting to return to Ireland with hope of getting those letters when they turned 11. But Isolde still had that ingrown fear of Gormalith, and she not wanting to return with the chance of running into Gormalith again. So instead she told the boys that when they turned 11 she would get them a wand that she created for them, and she would teach them some magic and sort of start their own school in the cottage that James had built for them. And with that, the boys grew very excited and with the stories of Hogwarts, they started to build the school themselves, with creating 4 houses much like Hogwarts had. And they originally were going to name the houses after themselves, much like Hogwarts did with Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Slytherin, and Hufflepuff. But Webster felt a little bad about that, with him thinking that a house named Webster Boot wouldn't be able to successfully win any competition with any kind of force. So instead they decided to name the houses after their favorite magical creatures. And Chadwick, who is an intelligent but often temperamental boy, picked for his house to be the Thunderbirds, which is this bird that sort of creates storms as it flies. And Webster, who is a very argumentative but very, very loyal person, he decided to pick the Wampus, which is this panther-like creature who is very, very hard to kill. And Isolde, with some sort of loyalty to the Horned Serpent, decided to pick the Horned Serpent for her house. And James had the biggest trouble with picking a magical creature for the fact that he is a non-magical person. So he doesn't know much about all the magical creatures. But he did enjoy all the stories that Isolde told about the Pukwudgie William. And he felt very attached somewhat to these stories about the Pukwudgie and all that the Pukwudgie William did for Isolde, that he decided to pick the Pukwudgie as his house. And everything was fine with all this family and all them growing and sort of creating this school. But with the fast approaching 11th birthday of Chadwick, Isolde grew worried about her not knowing how to build a proper wand for Chadwick. With his parents' wands being destroyed once they died, and Isolde fearing that the only other wand available was her own that she had stolen from Gormalith, which is Salazar Slytherin's wand. And she didn't want to destroy this wand because of the fear that it was the only wand. But one night, shortly before Chadwick's birthday, she had a dream about going to the Horned Serpent and him lowering his head, and she's shaving off part of its horn and forming that into a wand. And so she went down to the Horned Serpent, and that same thing that happened in the dream happened in real life. And she made Chadwick this wand from the Horned Serpent. And the same event happened with Webster once he grew 11. And around that same time, news of this magical school in North America had spread throughout North America, with many Native American tribes coming over, starting with the Wampanoag tribe, with 2 daughters and a mother sort of coming to the school and offering assistance in like making wands and all this stuff in trade for learning some more magical stuff. And the woman and her 2 children in turn shared some of their magical knowledge as well. And sort of that's how the school grew and worked, with people coming in to learn and then going back to their houses, with really the only people staying overnight being James, Isolde, Webster, Chadwick, and then James and Isolde's 2 daughters. And they did a lot of sharing of information and sort of creating wands and all this stuff. But Isolde decided to keep it sort of secret about the core of the horned serpent for the fear of the possibility of hurting her horned serpent friend. So instead, when she made wands for other people, she used like wampus hairs and all the other magical creatures that she could find that would work in creating a wand, and sort of keeping the horned serpent's powers to herself and just to her 2 sons. And to her 2 daughters, once they got old enough, which were twins of her and James, which were named Martha after James's mother, and Rhinorak, I believe it's pronounced, after Isolde's mother. And so that whole family were really the only ones that stayed in Ilvermorny overnight, and everyone else, like I said, just came in the morning and left. But as these more and more families sort of came together, the school continued to grow in size, and Chadwick and Webster's dreams of having the separate houses sort of came into form for the fact of having so many people there at one point. And the competitions between the 4 houses grew as well. And that's all I have for this section of how Ilvermorny, the North American School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, came to be. And I'll do part 4 a little bit later. So, yeah. That's my whole little thing on how Ilvermorny sort of got its foot in the ground and got started. So, yeah.